Hi everyone. So, me and my husband have been together for almost 25 years now, and we did have our daughter quite young, when we was unprepared. But I believe we did quite well as parents, and we have two younger children, 17 male and 15 female, now as well. And yes, my husband is also her father. She was quite rebellious in her teenage years, but I thought we had got past that. She went to university and got a degree, and now has a good job and her own place. Around a year ago, she started dating her current deadbeat boyfriend, who has 3 children by 3 different women, and takes D, but she insists he's a great person, and we have to let her make her own mistakes. I never imagined she would sink so low, as she has been basically stealing from us. She called us around 2 weeks ago saying that due to pandemic, she isn't getting her normal full wages and was struggling to pay all of her expenses. So we gave her £1,000 to cover the expenses for a while. Well, a few days ago we found out from our 15-year-old daughter that her sister confided in her that the money we gave her was actually to pay for child support that her boyfriend didn't have the money for, and they had a big argument over it. My husband is absolutely furious and called our daughter, who admitted that what her sister told us was true, and my husband told her that she is dead to him and to never contact him again. He then said to me that he understands if I can't cut off our daughter, but he can't be with me anymore if I choose to still stay in contact with her, and it's completely my choice, but he will divorce me if I don't cut her off. I am so torn. I completely understand where my husband is coming from and why he can't stand her right now, but to cut off my own daughter for the rest of my life, I am not sure if I can do that. I might not even like the person she is right now, but I still love her. I really don't know what to do, guys. I could see him being upset about this, but going straight to cutting her off completely seems more like a bit overzealous, unless you're downplaying the severity of her rebellious teen years. Did your daughter used to do D or steal money from you guys or something? I don't get why he went straight to the nuclear option, including getting a divorce from you if you stay in contact with her. Unless there's something you left out, his reaction is way over the top. I can understand being angry and feeling betrayed, but yeah. Also, it's wild everyone is crapping on him and saying nothing of the daughter, in my opinion. She's 22. It's not cute to date a loser and lie about money that she's begged for. It's pathetic. She's 22, not 14. Honestly, I would talk to your husband about seeing if your daughter is willing to apologize, ditch the deadbeat, and repay the debt as a means of preventing cutting her off. If she refuses, honestly call the cops on the deadbeat for D use and then cut her off until she apologizes. She stole money from you and your husband. He has a right to be angry, and you have a right to not want to cut your daughter off. The only way he may forgo his anger is if he is otherwise relieved of his injuries, or she faces suitable justice. My in-laws recently called and asked to visit for the weekend. We told them that we would be happy to have them, but warned them that there was severe weather on the forecast, and the weatherman predicted hail. We suggested the following week, but they insisted. On the last evening, the night of the severe weather, my husband and I went to bed, and they were still up. Apparently, they checked the forecast, realized just how severe the weather was going to be, and panicked. My father-in-law moved my car out of our garage so that he could put his own car in. His reasoning was that his car is a 2016 model, while mine is a 2012. My car received quite a bit of hail damage. Of course, I have insurance, but I did have to pay my deductible. While this isn't a financial tragedy for me, it's very frustrating considering that we warned them about the chance for hail, and they chose to visit regardless. I am angry that he would move my car without consulting me. My husband says his dad believes this was the best outcome, because the oldest car is the one that was damaged, and probably won't change his perspective. He believes we should just be annoyed, but get over it. I, however, believe that was very inappropriate for him to move my car. I would like him to reimburse me for my deductible. My husband says he understands why I am upset, but he thinks I shouldn't be so upset about something that is basically bad luck. Whereas I don't believe this is bad luck, just bad manners. Am I overreacting? I think your father-in-law was very selfish, and I'd be really mad. Absolutely, they should pay for the damage to your car, because they made the decision that your car would be the one that should be damaged. Doesn't matter how old the car was, or what pragmatism they want to dress it up as. Ultimately, they decided, while guests in your home no less, that your stuff was less important than theirs. Sorry, that's not cool. There are consequences to their decisions, and I think you're well within your rights asking them to deal with them. Edit. Also, your husband needs to come out from their shadow and back you on this. This is more of an issue between you and your husband here. Why is he taking his dad's back over yours? I believe you're completely in the right here. You warned them of the hail. They still decided to come, and then they moved your car out of the property to protect their car, which ended up costing you money in hail damage repair. That's rude as hell right there. Has there ever been any other issues in the marriage of your husband taking his parents' side over yours? Maybe I'm the crazy person here, but in my neck of the woods, you don't steal people's car keys in the middle of the night and duck with their car when you're a guest in their home. Father-in-law owes you that deductible. Your husband owes you a spine. My fiancé and I, 29 male, 28 female, have had a pretty great relationship. We are both new at this and didn't date much before meeting each other, and have been going out for about 2 years. I proposed to her about 3 months ago. Everything has been near perfect. We do argue and fight sometimes, but it's always about relatively minor things, and we resolve our differences quickly. Also, a relevant point is that we are both pretty simple people. We don't see the point in wasting money or spending much. In fact, she is more frugal than me. Oftentimes, I'm the one willing to shell out a few more dollars for nicer things, whereas she goes for the cheap option. In addition, she has always been an independent woman, which is one thing I love about her. But I did not realize that would translate into what happened yesterday. For the last few months, she has been making occasional comments about her car getting old. Fair enough, it's 15 years old and not in its prime anymore. And that was the end of the discussion. I wasn't aware of any plans to buy a new one yet. Since we are getting married in about 6 months, I figured that when she felt like buying another car, we'd look at it together and see what we liked. And then yesterday, I pulled up to her driveway for a date night and saw a brand new looking Lexus. I'm not a car guy, but I know it was a Lexus, and it looked fresh off the assembly line. You can imagine that my first thought was, what the duck? We don't have any friends who own Lexuses. Lexi? Whatever. I was wondering what was a random rich guy doing at my girlfriend's house. Obviously, you tend to assume the worst, human nature. So I knock, and she opened the door and let me in. Nobody else in the house but her. I asked about the car outside, and she had woken up that morning and decided, I really want a new car, and then went to the dealership and traded in her existing one for a new one. She didn't shop around, didn't look at any deals, didn't negotiate. She went to the dealer and paid sticker price for the first nice sedan she saw. It turned out to be $40,000. I am a calm person, so I just asked some questions about all this, and then we continued with our dinner and movie night. But the whole time it was eating away at me that she'd put this much debt on herself without even letting me know about it, or allowing me to help her look for cars and find good deals, or duck, even negotiate with the car salesman. So finally, at the end of the date, I said all this, and it quickly turned into a heated argument. Finally, she yelled that she's not my property and that we're not married yet, so I don't get any say in what she does with her own money. At that point, I stormed out, and we haven't spoken since. I get that sometimes it's nice to impulse buy a little and splurge, but a few things are really chewing at me inside. First, we're getting married in 6 months, and we have already agreed to share finances like a traditional married couple. So, her $40,000 debt is about to become my debt. Secondly, in a serious relationship, shouldn't you at least talk to the other person before making huge purchases like this that will hang over your neck for the next 10 years? I'm new at relationships, so maybe people really do this completely on their own. But that would shock me if that's true. Third, as mentioned above, my fiancé is usually the frugal one and forces me to downgrade purchases that we make. So it seems very hypocritical that she did what she did yesterday. The last thing is something my mother told me many years ago before she died. I make good money, $250,000. And my mom specifically warned me to look out for women who impulse buy big-ticket items because I don't want to get taken advantage of. My salary is much higher than my fiancé's, $250 versus $60 a year. So that has been niggling at my mind too. How should I approach her about this? Could this be a pattern and she's going to drop money like this whenever she feels like it through our marriage? Is this a red flag? Or am I in the wrong? And here is the crux of the issue. We have already agreed to share finances like a traditional married couple. So her $40,000 debt is about to become my debt. 1. She went back on the agreement that you both made. 2. She put you in quite a bit of debt without your knowledge or consent and has a completely cavalier attitude about it. Postpone the wedding. Get some couples counseling right away. Get a prenup. Keep the engagement, but tell her that you can't have the wedding until she's paid the car off, because you're not ready to take on a large debt she didn't consult you about. Her reaction should tell you everything you need to know. What happened goes like this. I had not actually met her family much, just her parents once before, and they thought it could be a great way to introduce me on sister's wedding day. Everything went fine until nearly the time when the newlyweds were to leave for the night. I was starting to feel sick. I can't drink, and I wasn't drunk, but a case can be made that I was unreasonable with the food. When they came to say goodbye, thanks for coming, to my girlfriend and I was feeling really unwell, and that probably showed. They were approaching out of concern. I was making erratic signs of hands and head, and I suddenly puked, putting a lot of it on the wedding dress. The bride was so shocked she fainted, and I didn't know what to make of myself. Well, the family answered that for me. I was soon circled with angry people, mostly male and fairly drunk, and not wanting to end this day with a beat-up, I excused myself and fled. Texts from my girlfriend made it clear I was not welcome in our hotel room, so I got myself an emergency sleeping arrangement, puked some more until I felt empty. Then, the next day, woke up to breakup and otherwise angry texts, explaining how I humiliated her to her family, and a bunch of other descriptions that made me feel rightfully bad. I drove alone back to my place and was also called an a-hole for not driving her back, despite the plan was to stay for the week, and I had no reason to think she would want to go back now, and I was still a relevant driver to her. I received angry texts for 3 days about how hard it was for her to handle her family after this, and how she doesn't want to ever see me again. It had been a week when I received another text, this time apologizing about everything she said, and hoping I didn't take it seriously, and of course we were still together, and her family wants to meet me as her boyfriend. She explained that many guests of the wedding felt sick the days after, and she actually asked about my health and how I was doing. She's saying her family wishes to apologize too, and she wishes I go back to them and spend a little time there. I still have a few days of vacation I had taken. Normally, we were supposed to stay for the week that just elapsed, but going for a short stay is now imaginable. I don't know how to handle that. I don't want to break up with her for having puked on her sister, but I think she's delusional about the damage done. After the texts I received and reread, I don't think her family, as a whole, has any chance of ever accepting me after this, especially not her sister and brother-in-law. Maybe her parents feel bad because they were in charge of the dinner, and it's the primary suspect. I am also afraid of her now, as I don't know how to convey how heinous her texts were. It's not like her. If there had been less angry texts, or if it went on for less long and were more immediate, or if they were tamer, I would understand that anger makes you say things, but that lasted too long to just be simple anger. I also don't think she was faithful to me during her stay, and it doesn't matter to me that we were broken up. I don't want to be broken up with for the necessary time to have some side D, then be offered the relationship back. I'm not certain of it, but I don't know how to approach the discussion. Generally speaking, if we were to try again being together, I don't know how to handle her family, her sister, her, and my issues with how she spoke to me. Edit. Dear God, this is getting so out of hand. While I appreciate many perspectives, I cannot answer them all. Let me just throw a few remarks here and try to answer a little. I did not instantly decide we were finished, because I think she was under an extremely overwhelming storm of emotions. And this is not so much her true colors. as her true colors in an extreme crisis. She might be learning a lesson too here. In hindsight, I also do think that she was unsatisfied that I fled, and she adapted as she could with an upset mind. I was more concerned that this first impression with family is irreconcilable. Also, if she did sleep with another guy, we're better off ending it here. I did offer to pay the bill for whatever way they would want to have the dress cleaned, in response and acknowledgement of the breakup. Many people seem extremely experienced with vomiting. While I appreciate the perspective it brings, like I said, I cannot drink. I had vomited thrice in my life as a kid. I don't know how it works. I was trying to gesture away from approaching me while covering my mouth. Coming to me like she wanted to hug me, I was entirely clueless what I could do. I am sorry that what happened to me resembles what happened to someone else. I admit I adjusted the times a little for anonymization, but if you hear of anything more than 2 weeks ago, it's clearly not my situation. The bride called me and explained many things. She sounded sorry about the turn of events more than about her dress and fainting. She did nothing hostile to me after all. She was fainted. It seems the family was not that upset against me as the girlfriend pretended, but she had some sort of week-long panic attack. As for the circle of drunk people, they were drunk. Who knows what was their game after all? She promised that my girlfriend was trying to hurt me, and that was very stupid, but she would never have done anything with the guy. Of course, she would say that anyway, and now a face-to-face confrontation trusting my guts will be less effective. I am really worried, and I don't like trying to hurt me that way one bit. You got sick, and instead of being concerned, they treated you like dirt. Then, when they realized the wedding caterer made multiple people sick, i.e., they gave you food poisoning, all was forgiven. What a bunch of jerks. I'd cut these people out of your life. They behaved appallingly.